Welcome to the Behind the Punch podcast. My name is Bryson Olson. I'm here with Jake Sheehy, and today we got a fellow broadcaster who you may have seen on UFC Fight Pass, the Pac-12 Network, and ESPN Plus, and more recently, probably in Fierce Fighting Championship and All Heart Promotions Rival Series 5 back in June. We have Blake O'Rulian today. Blake, how are you doing?
Doing wonderful, Bryson. Thanks for having me, Jake, as well.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to have you. This is definitely not the first time we're recording this. We're going to be completely honestly with you. Blake, how did you get into broadcasting?
Yeah, I have been in love with broadcasting since I was a young kid. There's a lot of origins to that. Basically, since I was super young, I fell in love with sports. When I was growing up, I had a family that wasn't super into sports. Mm-hmm. While all of my family was watching re-racks of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on Thanksgiving, I was like, why aren't we watching Packers Bears? Like, what is going, like, why is that not the thing that everybody is tuning into the TV to watch? The only person that really aligned with that thought process was my grandpa, who really morphed me and helped me kind of become who I am today in regards to my career. My grandpa and I had such a strong bond from watching sports and being able to sit and watch prime Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and the golden years of USC football and the Lakers and the Dodgers and all these people in Southern California. It was so special to me. And he kind of saw that physically I probably wasn't going to make it to the league in any sort of regard. And so I ended up chasing broadcasting. He was the person that was like, I want you to become a broadcaster. I believe that you can do this. And he saw how much sports meant to me and how much it scratched my itch in myself and how interested I was in it. And so I ended up chasing that. And as I got older, my grandpa got older and unfortunately passed away. When he passed away, I remember I was with my family I was with my family and we were going to basically say goodbye. And he said, the last 3 words he ever said to me were sports, sports, sports. And ever since that day, for all these years, I have been chasing that goal, not only for myself, but for him. And I'm incredibly grateful to him in my childhood to be able to have that. Mm-hmm. So it is such a motivator for me now to continue to chase this dream all these years later.
Mm-hmm. And how old were you when he passed away?
I was 11.
Okay.
Yeah. So, 29 now.
So that love has really just been developing the entire time.
Yeah. It's really never gone away. I tell my wife all the time, I think about him literally every single day. He is so many other reasons now. Obviously, life is more complicated now than it was when I was 11, but I do this for him. I do this for my wife and my family and things like that. But he's the start of this whole thing. He's the ignition.
Yeah, and through like school, even prior to college, getting into broadcasting, were you kind of just going down that route, like taking classes that would kind of align with that, or doing sports, anything like that?
Yeah, when I hit my younger teenage years, I kind of fell away from that only because I was a dumb young kid and wanted to hang out with my friends. And I still loved sports, but I wasn't as much like, oh, I'm going to dedicate myself to this. As I've gotten older, it's like, oh my gosh, like, yes, like that's, the thing. And I've really tried to, align myself with this career and everything. But I wanted to do it, but I didn't really know how I was going to get there. And it was like, okay, like how is this actually going to happen? In high school, I ended up taking a video production class. I had a good friend who kind of took me under his wing. He had worked in the film industry. He's done some stuff. I don't know if anyone's like an Avatar: The Last Airbender fan, but he played played Kai on the spinoff show, which is Legend of Korra, I think is the name of it. So he was on that, and he had worked in the industry. Anyways, took me under his wing, taught me a ton of stuff about broadcasting and film and production and all these different things. And that was kind of what got me back into my love for all of this, and was like, oh, this is the pathway to get to where I want to go. And so, yeah, basically since then, it has been nonstop for the past 13 years to try to chase after this thing and make it my life.
Yeah. And what brought you out here? Because you're from California, right?
Yeah. So I grew up in Southern California and then came out here for college. transferred from UVU to BYU, and BYU is where I spent the majority of my time and kind of built up a lot of my college reps. Had a lot of incredible opportunities there, and more than anything, met my beautiful wife Allie. So that's the cherry on top of all this. So yeah.
Yeah, and so at BYU, you did broadcasting, and I saw in a news article from BYU Daily Universe that you had a very memorable audition. Do you want to tell us about that as a freshman?
Yeah, so just to transferred over from UVU, again, credits were minimal at the time. I had a long road to go, I believe 8 or 9 semesters. And I was walking towards my Comms 101 class because I knew that I wanted to be a part of the broadcasting program. BYU does have a good broadcasting program. I remember walking through, I look to my right, and I just see a big sign that says anchor auditions tomorrow, like 4 o'clock or something. I was like, well, I did it in high school. This is what I want to do. You know, I probably don't have a shot because I'm a freshman and there's a bunch of other people. But let's go ahead and try it. And again, I had anchored, I had done these things before. It had been a few years, but I had done it before. So showed up, got on the little set, and basically had 5-6 pages of copy, ran through that. The next day, I was literally walking over to Lavelle Edwards Stadium. I was going to be doing some stuff with ESPN behind the scenes, nothing crazy. But again, just trying to be around broadcasting as much as I possibly could. And saw a text on my phone that said, congratulations, we'll see you Monday and Wednesday. And then for the next 8-9 semesters, basically every single day, or not every single day, Mondays and Wednesdays, I was in that newsroom basically trying to give people the sports news of the weekend, and then Mondays and Tuesdays. So
yeah. So you said you were working ESPN games already, like for college football. Was that how you were able to make a connection into bigger broadcast networks, or through school connections, anything like that? Or was it just kind of you get out of school and you're like, well, I got to figure it out, so let's go try?
Much more so the latter. What I was lucky enough to do because of ESPN was I got to see literally the best announcers in the world and how they do it. I literally have a photo on my phone where the great Mike Breen, any basketball fan, you know, the bang guy, the great Mike Breen, who's been around the NBA forever, New York Knicks television play-by-play guy, and obviously the lead voice of the NBA, calls the NBA Finals for the past 20 plus years. I got to shadow him in college. I got to shadow Doris Burke, Cassidy Hubbard, Ryan Rucco, Jeff Van Gundy, all of these top of the line S-tier level broadcasters. And it was like, okay, that's what it takes. And so being able to watch them really helped me. But I say more so the latter because following college and even in college, it was cold DMs, cold emails, phone calls, anything possible to get reps and say, hey, I want to do this. You know, I've got a bunch of stuff behind a set, but I do want to be at a booth. I do want to be calling action, whatever that may be.
And now you're in the combat sports space, but I'm assuming you probably started in other sports?
My first rep was in mixed martial arts. So I did start in MMA. I call everything. I've called a ton of different sports at this point. But I did get my start in MMA, and combat sports was where things kind of picked up. I reached out to basically every local promotion, boxing, MMA, whatever it may be, years ago. Hey, I'm a young kid in college. I really just want to get my foot in the door. I believe at the beginning I was like, I'll do this for free. Like, I just want to start. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time by any means. This is 2019, so I'm in my early 20s and didn't know what I was doing. I got a response by a guy named Juan Pablo at Mountain Force MMA. And then for the next year and a half, I really cut my teeth and kind of started building up my play-by-play career. And again, wasn't good at all, like not good at all. But luckily enough, again, I had seen what it took to do this job the right way. And so that's what I tried to do. And repetition, trial and error, more failing and more flubs than you could ever imagine. And then, still in that mode now, like still by no means close to the potential that I want to get to. every broadcast, I'm like, gosh, I suck. You know, like it's never gonna be enough. But you have to be that way in order to break through and keep growing and building. So,
and with combat sports broadcasting, did you get into that before or after you yourself started getting into combat sports with jiu-jitsu?
So I did start training jiu-jitsu before I got into broadcasting, just because that's when the opportunity came. It was about a year and a half of, again, just cold DMs, emails, reaching out to people. And so I spent so much time while doing that also training. I had gotten interested in combat sports. It was one of the things, but I was a basketball guy growing up. Like that was what my first love was, that, and then football as well. And if someone would have told me years ago, like, hey, when you're pushing 30, you're going to have literally 2 basketball games, a couple of football games. Like you're not going to have a whole lot of what you think you're going to do. Like combat sports is going to be your pathway to kind of break into the industry and build your tape. And so if someone would have told me it would have been combat sports, I wouldn't have believed them, but I got interested in it right around the time that those opportunities started happening. And so that's kind of where I've been able to run with it. Also, a lot of people are involved in basketball and football. They're so established that being able to get early reps was very difficult in those sports versus combat sports where there weren't as many people, you know, budging for those opportunities.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you kind of got to carve your own pathway rather than just kind of being just one in a crowd. You get to be a bit more forefront.
I've definitely tried to do that. And I don't even know if it was fully like, oh, this is how I'm going to get in or anything like that. It was just like, this is where people are saying yes. You know, this is where I can crack a microphone, so I'm going to do it. You know, Mountain Force MMA, Logan, Utah, Mountain Force MMA up in Wyoming in a bowling alley parking lot. Yeah, like things are, you know, you got to get your start somewhere.
Yeah, and we kind of have very similar experience.
100%.
Because we started off just doing work for businesses and social media and all that stuff, and it was like, oh, we were kind of just doing it for everybody, but boxing is where people started saying yes. It's where we started getting more connections. And then, you know, that's how we meet people like you and people like Jason, and how it just expanded. And we're like, we didn't think this is where we were going to be, but now it's great. And so
it's been incredible. And seriously, being able to do Rival Series 5 with you guys, I'm so impressed by every single one of you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Really, really impressive.
And considering we're a small broadcaster too, and you've worked with a lot of major broadcasters, like, what is like a experience that you've just noticed overall in like the professional world, or like the difference between different networks? Like, do people work differently, or is it all fairly similar?
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway that I've ever had, I think the greatest lesson I'll say that I ever learned was I was doing a NBA on ESPN game with the Jazz, and Cassidy Hubbard, who's now with Amazon on Prime. I was shadowing her basically for a couple of days, and basically just doing whatever she needed, as being one of her errand boys basically. But again, being able to see how she operates and what she does. And this was probably a year and a half before I ever even started doing play-by-play. This was probably 2017, 2018. But I remember she said, it was probably 90 minutes before the game, and she said, hey, Blake, I've got some prep, some last minute prep. I need to get printed out. Can you go print that for me and bring it back to me? And I was like, done. I went out, and again, this is Cassidy Hubbard, who is one of the most esteemed sideline broadcasters in the entire industry. And so being able to see how she operates was very valuable. And I go and I print these out again. It's 90 minutes before the game. This is last minute prep. She already has a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
12.5 pages of prep, just stats, storylines, all these different things. And I'm just like, oh, this is what it takes to be a professional broadcaster, presenter. It literally takes every single detail that you can possibly get your hands on to do this the right way. And I was like, okay, that's what it's going to take. And so I have literally thought about that story so many times over the course of my career. I really do believe I've never phoned something in on a broadcast. I take it as seriously as I possibly can. But anytime that I am like, gosh, man, like this is I'm spending a lot of time on, you know, a specific thing. It's like, look at what Cassidy had to do 90 minutes before a game, dude, like suck it up, go do it, kind of a thing. Like this is what it takes to be great. And that reminder is the thing that has been very, very, it's really formed me into who I am. That specific moment, in my opinion.
Yeah. And what goes into that prep? Because I know, like, as someone who just watches, or I know other broadcasters that do play-by-play, like I was friends with people in college that did more sports broadcasting, where I was more on like the like lifestyle journalism side. It looks seamless, and it looks like you are just calling things as it's happening, but I know that's not the case. It's a lot more, not scripted per se, but you're prepped.
So writing is a huge part of what I do. Writing for television, and I tell everybody this, it is my favorite aspect of broadcasting, because if you can ad-lib something, I guarantee you if you write it, it's going to sound 1,000 times better. Now, does it sound scripted sometimes? Sure. Yeah. But when a fighter's walking out, nothing upsets me more than, oh, here's this guy, and I think he's from here, and well, we don't know a whole lot more about him, but we hope he's going to be a good fighter. It's like, no, that fighter deserves their moment.
Yeah.
They've got sparklers. They've got their music blaring. This is something, especially like debuters, this is something they've dreamed about for whether it's a couple of years or their whole life. Give them their moment. Let them have that moment. And so being able to give them that, I'm big on the writing, being prepared for that moment, but also just in preparation overall. The seamless aspect of it comes with hours and hours and days of preparation and figuring out what works for you. I'm very big on making sure that, does this flow? Does this work? Is this going to be seamless? How do I incorporate Charles, Destiny, whoever it may be that I'm working with, and making sure that it plays to their strengths as well. So being able to have all of those different things operating and kind of, is this going to work? Obviously, it's a live broadcast.
Yeah.
Things are going to go wrong. But be as prepared as you possibly can be for whatever comes your way. So,
and there's different kinds of commentators, because you do play-by-play, but I know in like more team-based sports, you have like a color analyst, you have a bunch of other things. Like, is that the same in combat sports, or different names, or everyone's play-by-play, or?
No, the lines are blurred a little bit in combat sports, but yes, there is a designated play-by-play analyst, sometimes a second analyst, depending on the broadcast. But yeah, so I am a play-by-play broadcaster because my job is kind of the ins and outs of the broadcast, bringing people in, tossing a break, coming back, tossing to inside of the cage or the ring, whatever it may be. On the flip side, the analyst is the person who's the expert. So we'll use All Heart as a example. Destiny McCubbin and Charles Presnell, who do an amazing job, are, in my eyes, the two analysts. Destiny has fight experience. Charles has fight experience. Both of them are such a depth of, well, this is how it's done inside of the cage or the ring. And then my side of things is more of dishing it to them wherever we can, but also operating the, hey, are we cutting a break? Are we taking the tail of the tape? Do we need to do this graphic? Do we need to do this ad read? Whatever it may be, the operational side of things is kind of my job. So
I like that you say like operational side too, because you also do like media coordination and production for Fierce Fighting, correct? So you kind of plan a lot of that stuff out with them?
Yes, yeah. So a lot of, and I'm so grateful for my job with Fierce, which is so consistent. Being able to produce the broadcast, we have a media team who is there. So we have someone doing videos, winter posts. We have a photographer, a videographer. We have obviously the broadcast team, myself, and then a couple of analysts, and then obviously our production team in the back. And what commercials are we triggering? What sponsor is attached to which bout? Whatever it may be. That's all done behind the scenes as well, with the help of Zach and then everybody else at fierce, obviously. And so my job is kind of, okay, what's the flow of the broadcast going to look like? How do we make this as watchable for both the fans online, when people watch it back on YouTube or whatever, or wherever it may be? And then also, obviously, the biggest component is the live show. And so how does that all correlate and work together, and that coordination? So
yeah, and in that same article that I talked about earlier, it says that Zach often like comes to you when he's like doing matchmaking, like trying to figure things out. How involved are you in that? Because I know a big part of the broadcast is just having that story. So you want to have something that's good for people to watch. So are you very involved in it? Like, oh, this guy's going to be good with this guy. Or you're like, oh, I wouldn't be able to talk as much with this person or something like that.
Zach is a master at what he does.
Yeah.
His ability to build fights is second to none. I love Fierce Fighting Championship because I have really never been bored watching a fierce fight. And that goes for a lot of different shows, but I think Zach is really good at making matchups that make sense. Not only does Zach put together two people in a similar weight class, but he knows storylines, he knows records, he understands the backing of all these people. And that's why we're lucky enough to do, post-show podcasts and pre-show podcasts and all these things, because he actually cares.
Yeah.
And so when Zach comes to me, it's more of, what do you think about this? And most of the time I'm like, yeah, or he'll say like, am I crazy for thinking that this is a possibility? And most of the time I'm like, no, you're not out of the ballpark. Sometimes I have been like, I don't really love that. But for the most part, it's more of, hey, does this make sense? And more so, I'm a second opinion. And I think he has other people too that he reaches out to, but I'm very lucky that he feels like he can ask me those types of questions.
Yeah. As you've like gone throughout your career, I know you're like trying to like give back as well. You just joined is it the Ute conference as well as a play-by-play broadcaster? That's youth.
Yeah,
right.
I did step away from the Ute conference, and the only reason why is because my schedule is picking up with other stuff that just
which is
makes
awesome.
more sense.
Yeah.
I love calling football, and I saw an opportunity to call football, and I was more than happy to. But at the end of the day, I was being reached out to by other opportunities, and I just said, hey, I appreciate you guys kind of giving me this gig. I'm so grateful. I have other stuff that just makes more sense career-wise, trajectory-wise. But here's a couple of other people that I think would absolutely love the opportunity. And, hopefully one of them gets that chance. But I am bummed that I'm not going to be able to do it. But at the same time, I'm grateful that my schedule is busy enough to where I can say no to certain things. So
I think that's like a hard thing for a lot of people, is like, you want to say yes to everything, but you have to pick and choose what you're actually in.
And you do have to say yes to everything. Like, that's a big thing in broadcasting, is like, never say no to an opportunity. That being said, if there's a really, really good opportunity in something that's not as great of an opportunity, and you do have the time and the buildup and the lead up, hey, I have this other thing that really is going to move my career in a bigger and better direction. And most of the time, there's no issue with that.
Yeah. And I know you're still like, you're very much into your career. Do you ever like still have contact with the broadcasting department at BYU? Do you interact with them fairly frequently, or give like tips to new up and coming broadcasters, anything like that? Yeah,
a few months ago, I was actually asked to come and just speak to the students about what it takes to be in the business of play-by-play and all of that. And it was really, really great. I got to meet a ton of students that are up and coming. And when I was there were 12 kids in the like broadcasting social media track type of thing. And now there's literally like 80 kids. Wow. So it's like incredible to watch how it's grown and built. And Miles Romney and all the great people over there, Melissa Gibbs, and there's just some really great people who are trying to build that up as much as possible. And there's a lot of really talented people.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, awesome. It's been cool.
Yeah, I have a list here. I got a list. You ready? Here we go. Big
gotcha,
family.
Brother. What's that?
Big family.
Grew up with a smaller family. It was just me and my brother. It was a family of 4, but I'm adopted. So found my birth mother when I was 18. And so we're all super close. We're now all basically just one big family, but I've got 4 siblings on that side. So I got a ton of siblings. And then I also just rekindled with my birth father's side, and I also have a younger half sister on that end as well. So there's a lot of family.
There's a lot of
family.
There's a lot of meat. There's a lot of meat we could dive into there for just, and we could come back to that. There's a lot of good stuff there. Okay, favorite commentators you look up to? You're probably favorite two.
Favorite 2. Oh my gosh, John Anik is number 1. That will forever be number 1. I think the greatest of all time is probably Vince Scully. But in regard to right now, he's not a play-by-play. I'm going to name you 12. Sorry. That's just...
It's fine.
It's okay. It's all right.
You all get free shout-outs. You're welcome.
Favorite studio guy, probably Scott Hansen. Another play-by-play guy that I absolutely love is Joe Davis. I literally, on my way here, was listening to an audiobook of Joe Buck. And that's kind of how I spend my free time. Surprise. That's literally all I do. But yeah, I mean, I would say probably right now my favorites are probably Joe Davis and John Anik.
Here we go. Best way to prepare for the audition.
Prepare for the audition.
Dress nice. Have a lot of prep.
So for an audition, yes, definitely dress for the job that you want, which is really common sense. Like, show up in a suit, dude.
You'd be so surprised.
Like, you know what I mean?
You'd be
like,
so. Yeah.
I don't know. That's one of my own little pet peeves. But yeah, definitely dress for the job that you want. Be good to people. In regard to the preparation, be as prepared as you can. But when it comes to an audition, the preparation has to be the repetitions that you've had over time, right? So if you go into an audition and you might not know everything about something, because sometimes an audition is, hey, we're going to throw on a random game. You got to call it. And you don't have any lead up time. Sometimes you do, but I've heard of audition processes that don't have that. And in that instance, it's like, okay, you really got to fall back on your instincts and what you know. And that's what they want to see is, can you be put into the fire and can you deliver a product that is very presentable to the masses? And so, yeah, it's more so the lead up and how much have you dedicated to broadcasting at large to be ready for those opportunities.
Yeah. And has that instinct kind of always been there for you, or did you kind of have to build it up?
Great question.
Like a muscle, like strengthen it a little bit?
So I just read a book that changed my life. It's called, oh my gosh. I just finished a book that literally changed the way that I look at skill building and everything involved with what makes people good at what they do. It's called The Talent Code. And basically the entire concept of the book is you do repetitions and you fail and you fail and you fail. And every failure gets you closer and closer to mastery. On top of that, you have to have something called ignition, which is basically your motivation. If you are not motivated to do something, you are never going to be top of the line at it, right? And then the other part is expert coaching, however that may come to you. And so when it comes to skill building and broadcasting, like I mentioned, I wasn't good when I started. Was I good to people who maybe don't know as much about the ins and outs? Maybe. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, my mom thought I was good, you know? Like, but like, I wasn't good. Like, I literally, anything I don't know, summer of last year, I have to like watch on mute, guys. Like, I can't listen to it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
So real.
But, and my wife is like, no, you're so good at this. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So anyways, so it takes time.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of failure to get good at, in my opinion, anything. And so when it comes to like, oh, were you naturally gifted at this? I really don't think so. I think I just wanted to do it. And I was so motivated by the story of my grandpa and all those different things that I never didn't want to do it. And now it's just like, well, this is my career. This is what I'm going to do. And so it's just a constant desire to get better. What is that guy doing? What is that guy doing? And trying to build up how I work, kind of.
And that's a lot of your free time too, like you said, right? You live and breathe this stuff.
It's literally all I do.
Yeah.
My Spotify minutes listened to in music has just declined like crazy over the years. And the reason why is it's like, no, every second that I can, you have to be getting better at this, because I guarantee you there's someone on the other side of the country who wants this just as bad and is doing the work as well. So you have got to be ready, and you have got to build yourself to know every in and out that you possibly can. It's all right there.
Yeah.
Like, why would I not listen to how Joe Buck got his start and how he works and how he works with certain producers and analysts and taking any information that I possibly can? It is constantly trying to learn and listen, whether that's books, podcasts. There's 2 World Cup games and a UFC tonight, and I'm going to be listening to the play-by-play of every single one of them and taking notes. Like, that's what it takes.
And the barrier to entry is just so much lower now because the information's everywhere, so you can really just get into it.
100%. 100%. And just being a student of the game in anything is valuable, right? And so I have just kind of decided, like, this is going to be your life. You have to literally be as good as you possibly can. So you better not slack off anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's important to me. Like just never stop getting better.
Keep going. Okay.
Go for it.
Here we go, bro. For someone that's new and starting in this, what is the absolute bare minimum amount of time it takes that you should put into prep?
Oh, that's a great question. Any sport?
Yeah.
It kind of depends on the sport.
That's fair.
Because I did pickleball for the PPA tour a few months back, and you don't get your assignments until the night before. Now, I was literally for a whole week on 3 hours of sleep, because there are people who are in that sport and broadcast it every single day. I was brand new at it and was given an opportunity, and I was like, I have to hit this out of the park because I want to be a part of this. I have a super deep passion for tennis, paddle, racket sports. And so I really wanted to get my foot in the door, and this was an incredible opportunity. And so I was literally like on like 2 hours of sleep every single night. And I was like, I don't have sleep, but I know I'm prepped, right?
Get your assignment, you chug a Monster, and you're like, let's go.
No, like, dude, I was literally at a McDonald's at 3 a.m, and their dining wasn't open yet. So I parked as close as I could, connected my laptop to their Wi-Fi, and was literally slamming on pickleballtv.com. Like doing everything that I could to make sure I'm prepared as possible. So in regard to lead up time, the more the merrier, but and this is like any broadcast, you've got to be prepared for anything at any given time. September of last year, we were at Bear Lake, and Brayton Jorgensen, who's going to be fighting at Fierce FC in just a couple of weeks, stepped in on 20 hours notice to take a fight. And it's like, so much kudos to him. But in the broadcast lens, it's like, okay, we've got to make new tail of the tapes. We got to make new graphics. We got to do all this stuff on the back end. And then, hey, dude, you got to get this story and make sure you present it perfectly tomorrow, because it's the thing everybody's talking about. So
fair. Any terminology in the industry you wish you knew? You said the word copy for the audition. Is there certain things that you just wish you knew? Like when you were younger, when you first started out?
This is going to be the hardest thing you ever try to do, is break into this industry. It doesn't matter how good you are. You can be as good as you possibly are trying to be. Most people have their person that that's broadcasting for them. And so what makes you different than everybody else who wants to do this? And so being able to say, this is going to be really difficult, and you are not... If I could go back to 2019 and talk to myself, October 2020, before my first ever MMA broadcast, and I could go to myself, hey, 29-year-old me here, still doing the thing. You're way further away than you thought you were, dude. Like, that's what I would probably say. Like, you are not even close to where you... Yeah, exactly. That's what I would probably say. And you know what? 35-year-old me is probably going to say that to me at 29. Like, I know I sound like a broken record saying this, but we're not even close to where we want to be yet.
Yeah.
And you have to keep getting better, and you have to keep building connections and networking and growing and reaching out to Jason and saying, hey, I know you probably already have your team, but I would love the opportunity if there's ever a need. And he said, actually, there is a need. You want to do it this weekend? I literally found out on the Monday and was broadcasting that Saturday for that Rival Series 5. And so it was really... it was a real quick turnaround time. But I was so grateful for the opportunity and the calling, and again, hope to continue to do it. So.
Yeah. You mentioned something about like usually people like have their team, they have their guy. I'm assuming that's the same with like play-by-play. Like right now, your Fierce Fighting's like go-to play-by-play. You're their lead. Is it common to like still be broadcasting with other networks, or like always trying to get maybe like a bigger network like UFC or like Zuffa Boxing or anything like that, where it's like, oh, I want to be here and just only do that? Or are you kind of just always looking?
You're always chasing the full-time gig, the thing that gives you exclusivity. You know, if you become the radio play-by-play voice of the Los Angeles Lakers, you're not really looking for jobs anymore. You know what I mean?
Like, figured out where I'm at.
Everybody's pulling for crumbs, and then once you get your big break or whatever that may look like to you, then you're kind of like, okay, I'm settled in. And people still chase stuff, obviously. Like Michael Grady is a great example of, he was the TV play-by-play for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and now he's doing stuff on Peacock and Prime, right? And he's also doing the WNBA on top of the NBA. And so it's like, people are always climbing and trying to get other stuff, because in this business, if somebody's busy, like typically like you have a fill-in. So like, for example, the Dodgers, Joe Davis is the lead play-by-play, but he's also the lead play-by-play for Fox. So if Fox has something, that's the bigger thing. That's, you know, it's Fox.
Right.
And so Steven Nelson comes in and does an incredible job and is the play-by-play voice for the Dodgers. At this moment, there is no specific fill-in play-by-play. It would probably be my producer, Jordan Buscarini, who is literally such a talented play-by-play broadcaster. I can't even begin to tell you. And he was the original voice of Fierce Fighting Championship. Didn't want the consistency of it as much, and also just kind of wanted to take a backseat to broadcasting fights, because he does football, baseball. He does 100+ games a year across different sports for out there in Price, Utah. And so that's kind of how I got my opportunity. And, you know, whether Jordan is the fill-in or somebody else, you know, if there's exclusivity, then yeah, you are just a part of them. But if not, you're always looking for bigger and better opportunities that just get you around new people and are able to build your network and grow opportunities.
Does it ever feel weird? Like, do you ever have a break where it like kind of feels weird that you're not doing anything for a minute?
I'm literally in that right now, which is why I'm so glad that you hit me up when you did, because it's like, oh, I actually am free. Like, because
I don't have anything right
I mean, and I apologize if that sounds conceited or anything.
No,
it's just
no.
it's a busy schedule, and I'm so grateful that I have a busy schedule. But I like before the 4th of July, like I had 3 straight weekends. It was boxing, it was Muay Thai, and then it was MMA. Like it's just back to back to back. And my poor lovely wife, who's just at home, like, hey, watching you, you're doing great. I'm in Los Angeles, California, staying at my parents in my childhood bedroom. And in the meantime, you know, calling fights, you know, couple states away. So it stays busy, but there's you know, there's opportunity, and if there's an opportunity, I have to take it. You know, so
it's awesome.
You have your own headset and you bring it. Why do you do that, and what kind of headset is it?
It's an HMD 27 for anybody that cares. It's about $500, and it took a lot of convincing from my lovely wife, but I got a great opportunity last year, and in celebration, which my wife and I are very, very frugal people, but I got a really cool opportunity that paid well, and she was like, "Hey, go buy that 27,
you deserve
bro."
That. You deserve it.
I bring my own headset because it's comfortable. You have that thing on for the whole broadcast, and some headsets are nicer than others. And I want to have whatever is the best it can possibly be. I like an over-the-ear. I like the on-ear as well. The 26 is an on-ear. I am so sorry for anybody listening, because this is the most boring part of the conversation.
I love this.
We're media people. We love
yes, 100%. The HMD 26 is on the ear. That's a great headset as well. The HMD 27 is around the ear, or over the ear, I should say. Really high quality microphone, super, super comfortable, lightweight. And so being able to wear that for 6 hours versus something else is preferable. a very popular headset, and I don't want to name any names, but sometimes the mics are really heavy. So if you turn your head or if you have a big jerk, that mic might hit back or whatever because the boom arm isn't as strong and all those different things. So the HMD 27 is the top of the line. It's the best built. And so if a 26 is going to be at a given venue, I'm happy to use the 26, but if I can avoid it, I will bring my own headset just because I love it and it's the thing I'm most comfortable with.
Right.
Kevin Harlan does the same thing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it like kind of helps put you in the mindset too, where you're like, it's go time. We'll put
That's
on
a
the
great
headset.
point.
Like it's what you're comfortable with. Like I know, like sometimes I do freelance work for other people, and I've done freelance with Fierce, and like a camera's a camera, but when it's not your camera, it takes a second.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I got to know where this, and this. Okay, I know what I'm doing. But if I were to use my own camera, I'm like, I don't even have to question what I'm doing. It's like all instinct at that point.
And it's like, hey, as long as it's got an XLR and a 1/4 inch, like this thing's good to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I love my headset. I literally like, I take such good care of it because one, it's so expensive, but also
It's your
like
baby.
that thing is my baby.
Yeah,
I love that thing. And I'm such a headset nut. Like I could literally like tier list like every headset in the business. Like
It's so real.
I love, I'm such a broadcast nut and a production nut. Like, dude, I love these Rhodes. Like they're great. Like I could tell you all sorts of different podcast microphones and all. Yeah. So anyways, sorry.
I completely get that.
I
Even
love
with
this.
headsets too. I was in radio for a long while, especially throughout college. And so like sound, I'm like, I want these headphones. I want this mic. I want this, and this. I'm like, this is what's going to sound good.
Yeah.
Or it's like every time I'm like looking to buy a new piece of gear, I'm like, okay, I'm going to research everything. It has bad low filtering or all this other stuff. And it's like I look at every little detail because it's like you want what you want, and you want the best for your bang.
And I'm so grateful for any headset that I have the opportunity to use. I went on the road for a show a couple of years ago, and I just remember it was really heavy and tethered and used. And I just remember getting off the broadcast, and I told my wife, I was like, it distracted the call. Like it distracted the broadcast. It was like falling apart. And so I was just like, I can't use, I've broadcasted with a gaming headset, dude. Like I'm happy with anything.
Like Turtle Beaches or something?
Literally Turtle Beaches. But at the same time, like, you know, if you can use a different headset and you can use something that's nice and, you know, they have the capabilities to use it, if I can, I'd love to use my own. Yeah. So anyways, kind of makes me a snob. Like I feel bad talking about it. But.
Do you ever like show off the headset dent to the camera?
No, it does though. It totally imprints really bad. Yeah. It totally does. You've got that thing on for hours.
Is there a magic number of commentators? Is 2 too little? Is 4 too many? Is it always 3 is the best? What does that look like?
It is dependent on the sport, in my opinion.
Okay.
Football is a perfect 2-man booth. It is back and forth. It is call the play, set the table, lay out, wait for the replay, analyst comes in. Like that is football. Basketball, again, set the table, tell the story, get out of the way, let the analyst cover the why and the how. Fighting is so lucid, and there's so much happening at any given time. And also, fights are such longer broadcasts. I can go do a lacrosse game, 90 minutes, right? I can also go do fights. I just did a 7-hour broadcast a couple of weeks ago. We had 3 for that one. Thank goodness we had 3, because by the end, our heads were on the table.
You're drained.
Just like, oh my gosh, we are exhausted. You know what I mean? And so being able to have 3 is super helpful. I've had to do 1-man booths. Don't love those, but sometimes that's the thing. And especially in radio, which I've kind of been more on the TV end of things, but in radio, oftentimes it is a 1-man booth. Because in radio, you have to be the eyes. And so you're not necessarily breaking down as much of the X's and O's. You are literally reporting what is happening in real time. For TV, it is more of a presentation and a performance. And so that's why you have opportunity to have analysts and all of those different things. But an analyst is so necessary, in my opinion, because it gives you someone to talk to, but also gives the broadcast the opportunity to breathe and learn a little bit more about the game or the fight or whatever is happening. So I would say 3 for some sports, 2 for others. If you want to go down the list, I could tell you really quick. Oh, whatever. But yeah, in my opinion, fighting is 3, 2 is completely fine, but 3 is ideal.
Yeah, and I imagine that's why like prep is so important too, is because if you're gonna have a 7-hour broadcast and if you were just winging it you're gonna be so drained.
No,
immediately.
And at the end of the day too, like it shows. And again, it often comes back to these kids deserve, these people who train, they deserve your best. They deserve to have their stories told, for people to know about them, to know their statistics, to know why they're there. And, you should be prepared for that.
Yeah, they're doing their best, so you got to do your best.
100%.
When I think back on like really old, now I could be completely wrong, so correct me, but if I'm thinking like old style commentating for like baseball games, there was a clear like persona, voice, like almost character that you were listening to. And then if I'm thinking of like modern day, well, the things that I just always can think of is like the UFC, when they're a knockout and they're like, just this style of it. Do you have to, or do you not necessarily have to, but do you practice like a style of voice? Do you kind of like dial it in more? Do you ever do that?
I have worked on my voice. I think early on in my career, and part of the reason why I mute myself is I was trying to be other people. And some of the best advice I got, and it was like, the industry's changing. Like, yes, do you want the baritone guy who sounds amazing every single time? Yes, that's a great goal to have. But your voice is you, and if you're trying to be someone else, it's going to sound worse than your own voice most of the time. But I used to do a higher pitch nasally voice, and then I started kind of tinkering with, dude, you have a deep voice. Like, just use it. You don't have the baritone typical broadcaster voice, but use your own voice. And I think I'm more comfortable with the sound of my voice now than I did 2 years ago. But the industry has changed. Back in the day, you did kind of have a specific type of voice. Nowadays, they do want a little bit of diversity in voice, but they also just want the person that's going to do the job right. And as long as you're listenable, who really cares?
Yeah.
In a lot of instances. And so, I to answer your question, I've spent a lot of time working on my voice to make sure that it sounds as listenable as possible. Because again, we're on the sticks for hours, man.
Yeah.
What was it like listening to your voice like that for the first time? Because I know,
good question.
I know,
dude.
like with this, or when we work with clients and they hear themselves, they're like, "I hate this. This sucks."
Yeah.
And like for me, like I said, I did streaming and I did radio and YouTube, and I got really used to listening to my voice. Older stuff, I'm like, I have the same thing where I'm like, I cannot. Especially if someone else is watching it with me, I'm like, oh, you shrink into like a ball. But you get used to it. How was it like your first time?
Well, Bryson, I just want to let you know too, you have a really good voice.
Thank
you. Great voice. I literally I love hearing your voice. It's great. I think it was like, oh, it sounds okay.
Yeah.
Like it really was like, oh, sure. Like, I guess that's my voice and kind of got to work on it. And I remember like getting out of college, and I remember like talking to people, and they're like, man, like, you really want to go after this play-by-play thing? And I was like, yeah, I do. And they're like, do you have any like reservations? And I was like, well, I don't have the typical copyright voice. Yeah.
Right.
And over the years, I would hear myself, and I'm like, I sound too much like this guy. I'm trying to sound like this guy. And that's not what the job is. The job is be authentically you, and it will sound as natural as it can be. And then about 8 months ago, I had a conversation with a talent coach over on the East Coast. And literally his first note was like, I love your voice. And I had never heard that from someone in the business before. And I was like, oh, really? Like, interesting. And I was like, what did you like? And he was like, well, I like this specific thing that you do. And I was like, oh, okay. Just kind of built on that. And so that's how it's kind of transitioned. But kind of like a lot of what we've been talking about, it's constantly a work in progress. It was like, yeah, it's passable back in the day, but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
And even now, like, it's probably fine, but
Yeah.
it's got to get better. You know what I mean?
In 5 years, you're gonna be like, oh, I hated how I sounded then.
Exactly. And most broadcasters have that. Go back and listen to an old Al Michaels. Go listen to The Miracle on Ice. Al Michaels' voice was so much higher pitched back in the day versus what it is now. And obviously, he's in the later stages of his career, but even in his prime, you know, when he was doing Sunday Night Football, like voice is completely night and day compared to what he was doing in his early days at ABC. So,
I have a fun question, then I got two kind of tougher ones. All right, so here we go. Do you use any voice warm-up exercises? And if so, can you walk us through one?
every morning before a broadcast, it is hot water, sometimes tea, just making sure that you're as loose as you possibly can be. No dairy in the lead up to your show.
So real.
No dairy. Why?
It kind of just
coats your mouth
Yeah.
and your throat, and so you get like really phlegmy.
yeah.
When I did radio, they're like, do not drink milk, caffeine.
Yes.
Caffeine's a little different because it can do that, but it like dries out your mouth, and then you have a different problem where you're like trying to do that the entire time.
Right. And so lots of like hot drinks and things like that. Just like, again, like herbal teas, hot water, whatever it is, just soothe your throat as much as possible because you're going to be talking a lot.
Right.
And so that's the biggest thing. And then the other thing is just kind of like high pitches, low pitches, just making sure that you have your range and you're okay. But for the most part, like you stay in your specific gears and those have kind of become home base. And so it is pretty natural at this point. But yeah, so that's kind of vocal warm-ups and things like that.
No, I know Jake has laughed when like we filmed ads or something, and I'm like blowing out like the nerves and like loosening the face muscles. And he just laughs.
I do that. I do a couple of tongue twisters. Like my wife is the most incredible person in the entire world, but she'll always go like, she's like, you gotta know her to like, but she'll like look at me and be like, diction is done with the tip of the teeth and the tongue or something like that. Like it's and she'll just be like, say that, like say that. And so I'll do that sometimes and just be like that, you know, it loosens your tongue and your mouth and gets you ready to, you know, enunciate.
Yeah.
So
and I've noticed like, especially in ad type stuff or broadcasting, you really do have to focus on your diction. And I'm from here, so I have like the Utah accent where some of like the middle letters get kind of slurred into things, and I'm like, I gotta say this, and I do captions a lot because like accessibility I think is a really big thing.
Yeah.
And you get like the auto captions, and it's like, I did not say that even closely, but because of just how you said it, that's how the captions turn out. So you have to really focus on that.
It's super important. Like people are like, oh, like do your people, when they find out like what I do, they'll be like, oh, do your radio voice. It's like asking a comedian to tell a joke. It's like, no, like I'm not. But all it is, like for me, like my radio voice is just like, I just talk clearer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
like,
really all it is.
My radio do you want me to talk like the 1920s radio broadcast? Yeah, like welcome to the broadcast. We're gonna talk today.
Yeah. So, you know, it's super sweet, but I'm like, that's just not really how it works. At least on my end. Like it's not like, oh, let me change into that, you know, whatever. So anyways.
We can cut this. We do not have to talk about this. You mentioned earlier adoption. If you're open to talking about it. You mentioned that, and then as we're talking, you keep saying about you want to give people their spotlight, and you really are hitting the home for me, the working hard, prepping, putting time in. Do you feel like being adopted like that has affected you in that way to really want to push harder, show people something, and really give them their spotlight? Or am I kind of like digging into this too hard?
No, I care about my family so much. They are literally my wife, who is my family. They're the only thing that I love more than broadcasting. Point blank, period. Like that's it. Family is the only thing that I care about more than broadcasting. And I'm sorry, I'm thinking through this a little bit, but I've got younger siblings, and whether they look up to me or not, I don't know. But we're all buddies.
Okay.
That's so funny.
But like, if you're gonna be an example, whether I am or not, like okay, you want to get into this super competitive industry and do this,
Mm-hmm.
you better make right of it. You better be the best you possibly can be at it. And I think I owe that to my family, but also more than anything, like they're a huge motivator to me because I love them and I want to. I literally was like getting choked up earlier while I was driving over here. I was listening to Joe Buck's book and he talked about the first time he did the World Series. And his dad was on the phone with him after and he was like, hey, like, did you watch? And he was like, yeah, it was good. And the next day he called his mom and he was like, hey, why was dad like so like short with me? And she was like, he literally couldn't speak all night because he was crying, watching you do your thing.
Wow.
And this is such a selfish dream that I have. All I want to do is be able to get to a point where I can give my mom, my dad, my birth mother, my siblings, all of them that chance to, oh, he did it, you know? And I really, that means something to me. I do this for the fighters. I do this for the people that want me to do it. I do this to make sure that you guys have good production and everything. But at the end of the day, like, they're the people that I'm thinking about when I'm giving everything that I possibly can be. Them and over anybody else, my wife. Yeah.
Really good answer.
Oh,
that was a really good answer.
I hope it wasn't too.
No, that was fantastic. I really felt that.
Yeah.
This question comes from, we did a podcast with Emmanuel and Bobby, and Emmanuel was talking about how he really struggles with, or he did struggle with, believing that he was worth it. And it was really interesting to me to know that, like, oh, these people that are like on this stage that are going for it are still like struggling with some stuff, maybe like the mental. Do you feel like you ever struggle with, you know, grandfather died, was it 17 years ago?
Yeah.
Do you have a fear of loss? Do you have anxiety before you get on the mic? Are there things that maybe some people just wouldn't expect that you kind of struggle with?
When you're broadcasting, you cannot have a single thought outside of the broadcast if you want to have a good broadcast. And so when the broadcast starts, everything has to go to the side. If my wife is like pregnant, I'm probably going to be thinking about that, but she's not pregnant right now. But like, again, I hear so many stories of broadcasters being like, oh yeah, I was on the mic and then I had to leave because my wife was giving birth or whatever. So, but no, like, you have to be solely focused on it. And when you sit down, the only thing that can cure your anxiety of, yeah, I'm about to do this is, are you prepared? I think having such a short lead up time to a brand new promotion with All Heart a few weeks back, I literally found myself at the beginning of the broadcast for the first time in years. I've done a lot of other stuff, you know, where this hasn't happened. I was like shaking before the show started. And I was like, why am I shaking? It comes back to, I felt prepped, but it was like, dude, you literally found out about this on Monday and you got your boards done by like Thursday night. And then, you know, you've studied, but like, are you ready? This is new sport, new people. This is within the state. Like, you're broadcasting your boss's fight for the first time, and like, got to make sure you land that plane. Because like, my gosh, like, I wanted to broadcast.
Like, you talked really bad about me. You're
dude,
fired.
it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I've wanted to call a fight of Zach's literally since I met him. And so it was like, yeah, you better do it right. So there were a lot of nerves going into that one. But nerves coincide with your preparation. So, and also your reps with it. Like, I've done a lot of fear shows. So yes, sorry, I hiccuped there. Yes, I get nervous, but I'm also like, you've done this, you know, this product and you can do it. And you've prepared to make sure that you are ready for this. So yeah. So the nerves kind of elevate depending on the situation.
How are, for me personally, whenever I told my parents that I wanted to go into like media stuff, they wanted me to be like a teacher. And so they're like, oh man, like, oh shucks, dude, what? You're going to go do that? So when you're like talking to your parents and you're telling them, this is kind of the road I want to go down. BYU isn't cheap. You know what I'm saying? Were they ever like, I mean, do you sure you want to do that? Maybe could you do this instead? Or were they like, go for it?
My parents have always been so incredibly supportive of my dreams, which I think is a huge part of why I continue to do this, is they know the origin. Like they know and they saw, like, my grandpa was the most important person in my world when I was a kid. And it's like, I like, again, like I always tell that story, but it's like, that really is the reason for doing all of this. And so for my family, it's just like, well, yeah. And also at a very young age, and this is probably why my grandpa thought I could do it, at a very young age, I could talk well, but I was a little bit more reserved. But once I started talking about sports, it was just like bouncing off the walls. It was just like, oh, this is where the passion is. This is where everything for this kid lies. And so, yeah, sports are the thing that means so much to me. And so being involved in them and making sure that a story is fulfilled, a storyline is finished, a thing happens that has never happened before, you know, you want to make sure you present that in the right way. And I think that my family has always been like, yeah, I think he could do that. I do. And so I'm incredibly grateful for everybody in my family, because there really has never been people who have been like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, there really hasn't been that, which I know is very rare, you know? So anyways.
That's fantastic. Okay. Those are kind of my like more emotional questions, but
I appreciate it.
Sorry, you mentioned earlier about you have a love for, I think you said racket sports or paddle sports.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Because it was basketball, right?
It was.
You loved basketball, but now paddle sports.
I love I mean, I love every sport, right?
Okay.
But like specifically like tennis and now pickleball and how that's been integrated and stuff. There are. Okay, so I'll tell you the story. When I was in high school, I had a surgery on my chest. It's called a pectus excavatum. My chest went in like this. It was inverted. And so summer of 2012, I had to have a surgery, popped out my chest that basically got rid of the deformity. And it was a painful operation, and it was about a 2-week recovery time. And then, basically they were like, when you wake up from surgery, it's going to feel like you're breathing out of a coffee straw, like a coffee stirrer. And they were right. Like, that's what it felt like. Like, I remember waking up and be like, oh my gosh, like I can barely breathe. So anyways.
It's like me after a run.
You got
like
That's so good.
So you've got incisions here. You've got a new literal metal plate in your chest. Like your whole body is in pain. And so I had a hard time sleeping at night because like I couldn't be on my side. I had to sleep on my back. I've never slept on my back.
Right.
And so I would stay up all night. And so finally, like and again, this was in the middle of summer. I didn't have school or anything. Wimbledon. Go downstairs and just watch Roger Federer just be Roger Federer. And I fell in love with tennis and the broadcast and all of those different things. And then that has morphed into, I've maintained my love for tennis, basketball, football. I love every sport, but tennis is one of those weird ones where it's like, you like tennis? Like you don't talk about tennis. It's like, well, a lot of the people around me don't really watch tennis, so there's not really an opportunity to talk about tennis. But I've loved watching. Roger Federer is top 5 or 6 favorite athletes of all time for me. And it comes back to, I was watching Wimbledon at 2 a.m. when literally everybody in my house was asleep. And I was just like, this is the coolest sport in the world. This is grass. How is that ball bouncing on grass that well? It's like, and so it was just amazing. And yeah, being able to, I have that passion, and now being able to do a little bit more pickleball and things like that, it's been really, really cool. And I just love the ins and outs of that type of broadcast. So
final question here. For me, at least. Final question is, we see things happening with robotics. And I don't know if you ever saw that Hugh Jackman film, Real Steel, where like the thing where the robots fought. What is it? I love that movie when I was a kid, bro. For some reason, I love that movie. Would you ever see, because I've had this debate with some friends where they say, bro, we're never going to watch robots compete. Robots will never be in sports. They'll never fight. No one wants to watch that. People watch sports for the human element. Would you ever think that would be a sport? And do you think you would commentate a real steel style thing?
Would I broadcast it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
You got it. That would be fun.
I'll be honest. I've never seen the movie. I'm not a big movie guy. Like I'm a big TV show guy. So like I'm big on like Emmys and thing like whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But so I've never seen the movie, but I think it could be cool. I mean, like it's kind of already started. Like BattleBots is a thing, and I know that's not real steel. It's not two guys that look like human skeletons battling it out.
But Tesla is making those robots. It's coming
That's
soon.
what I'm saying. Like,
I think it could be really interesting. And I would definitely be interested in broadcasting it. Beyond that, like I don't know what technological advances it would take to get to that point. But I think it would definitely be a spectacle. Would it turn into the next big thing? I don't know.
Mhm.
I straight up, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like, could it be, there's all sorts of things that get on the Ocho that you would never think are gonna, make it big, but they get ESPN deals and stuff like that. So if technology advanced to an extent and there was a product for it, I think it would bring eyeballs. So probably, I think it could have success.
I think it would have a little bit of success, and then I think it would die off. I would think, because I do agree that the sports is huge for like the human element. Like I'd rather watch humans play basketball than a bunch of robots play basketball.
Well, I'll say this. It would come back to the human aspect of, and it would literally be customizable fighting. Like it would have to be some sort of, there has to be parity in a fight. If you have two of the exact same program, they're gonna balance each other out.
Right.
No one's gonna beat the other one. So one and again, I don't know anything about robotics. But what I'm saying
it'll
is,
be like Pacific Rim. They put on like a VR headset and they're actually fighting, but it's just they can be way more brutal.
But you would have to have some sort of, it can't be two of the same operating system, or else I would assume they're gonna know everything that the other one is doing. So again, I don't know anything about robotics, so I don't know. But that would be my take on robotic fighting. But
that's a good one.
I'd love to broadcast it.
Dude. All right, man.
All right. Well, thank you, Blake. Last little thing, we usually do this at the end of every episode. If you have any spotlights or shout outs that you'd like to say, we'd love to hear anybody you're currently working with or that you really just want to mention.
Yeah, I'll name out a few. Number one, Allie, my beautiful wife, the most lovely person in the entire world. The reason that I do just about everything. Thank you, love you, and thank you for supporting my dream. All of my family, everyone on every end, love you. Other than that, just all the people who give me the opportunity. Fierce Fighting Championship, Zach Partridge, Jordan Buscarini, Jason Laporte, Jackson Hubs, everybody that I get the chance to work with, and there's a million people. To all of them, obviously, All Heart Promotions, FXC Strikers, Royal Combat Promotions, to everyone who ever gives me an opportunity to broadcast. Thank you so much, and we'll only give you the best I possibly can every single time.
That's awesome. Well, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to have you. We got to learn a lot about you and just kind of talk the broadcasting world overall. I think that's just so fun.
Guys,
I love to nerd out about this kind of stuff with other people. It's
I
great.
could literally nerd out all day about this stuff. It's the best. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for what you guys are doing. This is incredible, and I'm honored to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for watching. Go check out the next episode or any of our past episodes. Thank you guys.
Bye.
See ya.